excited to be joined by a local photography legend, Cy Cyr. Cy, how you doing?
Randy, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm doing well.
This has been a long time. We connected sometime last year, I think, when I had Casey Bork on. That might have even been 2 years ago. We were talking all about that, and here we are, fast forward all these months and years later. We're doing it.
Casey's a dear friend of mine. I'm glad you had him on. One of the top golfers to ever come out of the state of Maine. He's
Mhm.
done really well for himself, and he's still a good friend.
You helped make that happen because I didn't know Casey. But when he was on, he had some awesome stories, man. Just about qualifying for the U.S. Open and just the cool things he's done through golf. Which you've kind of had a lot of cool experiences through golf, which we'll get to too. But he had a lot of great ones too. So thanks for making that happen.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So you are back from a long weekend. Was it a long weekend or a week at the Players Championship?
It was a long 12 days. I was the tournament photographer for Arnold Palmer Invitational in Orlando.
Yeah.
And then I drove up to Jacksonville Beach, Bonne Vedra Beach, to work for a corporate client at the Players
Yeah.
for it turned out to be 6 days there.
Wow. That's a long time.
It is
You
a long
always do
time.
this, Arnold Palmer into the Players, or
I did
is
it.
this?
I did it last year too. I lived in Florida at the time, and it was a lot easier. This one was a little more difficult, and there was a playoff. I was just trying to get home to Maine,
Did you end up
and
sticking around for that playoff?
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because when we were texting on Sunday, it was just when who was the guy that came in second place?
JJ Spawn.
Spawn just left that putt short, and I was like, "What does this mean for you?" And I thought you mentioned that you had like a 10 a.m. flight the next day, so you must have pushed it to be there for Rory winning it.
Correct. Yeah, I had to get the winner, whoever it was, with the executives that I was photographing
Mhm.
after the round. So that was a fun moment.
I want to get back to the Players, but tell me about the Arnold Palmer Invitational. What's that like being a tournament photographer for an event like that?
So being a tournament photographer is just a great experience. You've got all access. You need to cover the players, you need to cover the fans, the corporate side of things. You got to create a little, fear of missing out photos and, the feel to the photos. Just the incredible experience in documenting that.
I would think that that's not a job for one person, but there you are, one person. Or do you have
No, I
people underneath
brought
you?
I brought a guy in. His name is Omar Rawlings. He's just a bad golf photographer in Boston. He shoots a
Yeah.
ton of golf, and we went to the same photography school many years apart in Massachusetts. And I'd see his name, he'd see my name in bylines and social media, and then you meet the guy, and sometimes you make a connection, sometimes you don't. But I knew that if I was in a position to hire somebody in the future to help me with a tournament, I knew I'd be calling on Omar,
Mhm.
and the guy just kills it
Yeah.
every time. He's
E-
so good.
Even to think two guys would dominate a tournament like that, it's pretty impressive. What's the strategy going into something like that? You're like, I have to be like, do you put a game plan out before? Like, these are the holes that you have, these are the holes I have. We got to be here at a certain time to get this shot. There's certain players that you want to get. How does that all work?
Yeah, 100%. You got to cover the leaders, and there's certain corporate things that are going on in the background that mean a lot to Arnold Palmer Invitation or companies. And yeah, people need pictures for social media or the websites or just to document the historic nature of the tournament. Yeah, there's a shot list though. People put together, you know, hey, we need this tent full, empty. We need this tequila brand being handed off to some friends, and you guys should be smiling. And empty rooms, full rooms. Some people, like if the sales guys for next year need to make it look like a party, right? So it brings
Yeah.
in other corporate sponsors, and hey, you can entertain your clients and guests here at the Arnold Palmer or
Mhm.
wherever it is.
That's the side of the event that the normal person wouldn't even think exists. Like, oh, you got to get them smiling, you got to get it empty, make it look like they're having fun, and
Right.
it's all about perception. It's just for you to have
But
to be
it's
aware
really
of all
happening though. It's not even perception. Like this
that.
is really going on, and you just got to capture it. You got to know what you're looking for.
Yeah,
But you see the shot list and you see the brands that you need to get a picture of, and there's just so many people on site. It's easy if you know what you're doing. But
yeah,
yes, it's a totally different experience.
All right, if you've been enjoying the podcast, I wanted to let you know that I am a residential loan officer with CMG Home Loans. If you or anyone you know is looking to buy a home or refinance,
please let me know and I'd be happy to help. My contact information is in the description below. Back to the podcast.
So when you mentioned knowing what you're doing, you've been doing golf photography for a long time, right? That's main part of your photography business, or?
Yeah, a lot of golf photography. I spent 15 years as a contract photographer for the Golf Channel in Orlando. They sent me to some pretty serious golf courses and events in those 15 years. It was a great run. I still am in contact with them.
No,
Maybe doing some future work, but yeah, the Golf Channel and NBC Sports has been really good to me.
that's awesome. Going back before that, let's talk about the beginning of your photography career, because this was a thing for you all the way back in high school, right?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
started in Dan Roberger's class. Did you
Well,
have
I was
him,
going to
Randy?
say that's why I knew this, because I remember pictures that you probably took being hung in his class. When I think I'm maybe like 5 or 6 years younger than you, and I took photography, I think 1 and 2. But I remember like the Cy Cyr pictures on the wall, and by that point you were a little further into your photography career. But I always knew of you as a photographer, so it's been a thing since high school.
Yeah, it's been a good run. It's been fun.
Why? Like, what about photography do you love?
Man, when I really fell in love with it in high school, there was just something about being like it was so tangible.
Hmm.
So, you take a picture and you've got the roll of film, and then you take the film, you go into the dark room, you put it on a film reel, you go through the process of developing it. And Mr. Roberge, he had all these jokes and he just made it fun. It was,
Yeah,
you just had fun with a camera, and then fun in the dark room, fun printing the stuff, fun showing it. And, back then it was a little tough to show your work. I mean, you'd have to like mail it in the,
yeah,
USPS, but
a lot different.
a lot different.
A lot different. That whole So I took photography 1 and 2, like I said. Dan Roberge was awesome. He was our class advisor back in the day, and
Oh,
I
no way.
haven't seen him in years, but we were pretty close at the time. Is he someone that you've stayed in touch with over the years? As
I
you've
wish I could give you a full report on Dan Roberge, but now that I'm back in the area, I will be looking for Dan
Yeah,
Roberge.
I used to see him in the gym maybe like 10 years ago, but I think he's still in the Old Orchard area. But awesome dude. But that class was a lot of fun, and nothing like that exists anymore, right? There's no. I mean, I think there's photography classes in the high school, or in at least that I'm aware of. But that room was very unique with the dark room and the whole process, and it was really a special class for those people that took it. So I could see
Right.
why your love for photography would kind of take hold in that class.
Now someone else that mentioned the same story you just did, which is, Cy Cyr has his own set of pictures or whatever in the classroom, was Michael Crane. Mike Crane.
Mike, legend. We were all texting
Legend.
this weekend.
Yeah,
Who you met up with at the Players as well?
I did. I saw him again for the second year in a row. And last year, when I was shooting the same event at the Players, I met with the client, and I didn't know Mike was coming, and I didn't even know Mike, to be honest with you.
No,
I think he's many years younger than me.
he's like
Um,
2 or 3 years younger than me. So whatever difference that is,
okay.
it's probably like closer to 10 years difference for you.
So I met with the client, and they're like, "Hey, we've got an agency guy coming from San Francisco, and he really wants to meet you. And he went to the same high school as you." And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me, because I just met you, and
Yeah.
now you're telling me that someone is coming in from Biddeford, Maine, but he lives in San Francisco, and he's just the nicest guy." We had a great chat. We saw each other again this year, or just a couple of days ago, and yeah, he's like a big time ad agency guy.
He's one of those guys you have to take pictures of laughing in a tent with a glass of tequila, right?
Yeah, he's so good. He's so funny.
But you were a thing back then. So Cy Cyr is a known entity for
I
people
don't know.
my
I don't
age
know
and
about
younger.
that. I don't
You
know
know,
about.
he obviously, that's funny that he had heard you were photographing the event and wanted to get that message through to you to meet up.
Yeah, it's a catchy name. The name's done me quite a few favors, and I'm very thankful to my parents for naming me Cy Cyr.
I love it. Yeah, no, it does look at the website, cycyr.com or whatever it ends up being. It all looks great. So, what happened after high school, though? You're like, all right, I'm taking this photography to the next level. Where'd you go after that?
So I went to a photography school in Massachusetts. It has since closed down, unfortunately, but it was a cool place to just get a foundation in photography, learning about the business side of things and lighting, cameras, shutter speeds, apertures, developing your own film again. It was just starting to come into digital, like scanning, and the digital thing had just started, but we weren't, it wasn't even a thing still.
Mhm.
And after school, I worked for the Journal Tribune, which
Oh,
is
no kidding.
also shut down. So I'm like 0 for 2 right there.
Photography schools and journals, not or newspapers,
Jeez, newspapers.
not a good run for them.
No. And after that, I went to the Bangor Daily News in
Yep.
Bangor, Maine. And then I went to the Eddie Adams workshop, and that was pretty cool. 100 people are accepted. 1,000 people apply roughly every year, and that was in '99. And I ended up winning a Sports Illustrated assignment because my photo leader was Jimmy Colton, and he was the photo editor at Sports Illustrated. And he handed me an assignment for Sports Illustrated as an award
Mhm.
for the weekend. So that was just unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. Did you ever see yourself shooting sports, or that's the thing that made sports like move to the forefront of your photography?
I really wanted to be a Sports Illustrated photographer, like a
Okay.
staff photographer.
Mhm.
Now I don't even know if
Also,
there's a Sports
also
Illustrated.
not a
And
good
I
run for Sports Illustrated. I
Yeah,
don't know if they're a thing.
all right, now I'm 0 for 3. I'm 0 for 3, Randy. I don't think there's a Sports Illustrated, and I know there's no more Sports Illustrated staffers. So
Yeah.
I think I'm in a good spot then.
But you get this award. But did
Mhm.
that propel you towards the sports photography that you did end up doing, or like what happened after that that got you in with the Golf Channel and
Yeah, there was the Sports Illustrated thing actually went to my head. So I was like 20 years old. I went from like shooting Biddeford High School and Bangor High School and things like that. And then I meet this photo editor, and Jim Colton is a legend at Sports Illustrated. He's still a photo editor, not for Sports Illustrated. Yeah, it totally went to my head, and it kind of threw me off a little bit. So,
what do you mean by it went to your head? So you're
yeah,
like
like,
big
yeah,
man around here, like but it just things didn't go right after that.
yeah, like it was just, yeah. This is the moment where you got to cut this out. I don't even know what the fuck
I
I'm
love it,
doing.
dude. But like like where did you get into sports photography?
I've always wanted to get into sports photography. Yeah.
But like did you meet somebody through pictures that you took that were
No,
like
I guess like you just don't.
stumbled into like the Golf Channel gig? That seems like such a sweet gig and then led to all these other things that you've done since then, which I want to get into, but it's just like I wonder how all that stuff even happens. This just seems like very fortunate, maybe.
No, you're just in the scene. You're just trying to open the doors for yourself. You're just always networking. Once I left Maine, I went to Pennsylvania, and then Florida, back to Pennsylvania, and then Florida for good. So I bounced around with Casey Bork actually
Yeah.
for 6 months at a time. Because he was on tour, and I was just trying to find my way photographically. And I would shoot sports any chance I could get, whether it was soccer,
Mhm.
field hockey, baseball, basketball, golf, anything and everything at any level. College golf, high school golf, you
Yeah.
know, indoor sports, outdoor sports, anything.
And with that said, what are some of the most memorable shoots that you've ever had sports wise? Is it this past week? Is it other things that you've done? I want
Uh,
to hear some stories.
I was on a run with the Golf Channel, and they would send me to major venues before they were playing at the major venues. So I went to like Erin Hills and Royal Liverpool, Royal Troon, Royal Birkdale, Le Golf National. The PGA Tour sent me to a President's Cup in South Korea. I've been to Mexico to shoot pictures, Bahamas.
So a
Uh,
lot of times it's before the event actually happens, just
correct.
so not always during the tournaments, but kind of like recon before.
Right, right. And the Golf Channel and NBC Sports would use the pictures to come in and out of commercial a lot.
Hmm.
So that was pretty cool to see your work on TV.
Isn't that crazy? Like if you think about it, like to fly you to South Korea for that, it's pretty wild. They need their shots and it's a whole production and they know what they're looking for. But it's like I'm
Right.
gonna fly this guy 15 hours across the world, maybe even more than that, to get to South Korea.
No, you're right
Back
on.
for a few pics. It's wild.
Yes, you're right on. It was a stop in LaGuardia and then a stop in Seoul, South Korea.
It's
I knew
freaking
I was on a
crazy.
long flight when I slept, and I woke up and there was like 7 more hours to go. That
Yeah.
was pretty crazy.
But dude, then what are you there for a couple days? Or are you there even
Yeah, you're
shorter?
there for about a week. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That doesn't sound too bad, man. A week to shoot some pictures. I
Right.
don't know if this is like 8 hours a day of shooting pictures, or if you're able to snap a few pictures in 3 hours, if you can hang out in South Korea for the rest of the week.
Right? Yeah, I mean, some people, like if you're going just for an event, a newspaper or magazine would just fly you to the event, and then you'd be on the next available flight back home, or you
Mhm.
go to the next event. Like these top photographers are human FedEx.
Yeah,
Like
getting
you just
shipped
ship.
around all over the place.
Yeah, think about the golfers themselves. They play in every, they're playing 3 times a month maybe, and then you've got this staff of Golf Channel or NBC Sports guys that are flying around right there with them.
Yeah,
You know,
capturing it all.
yeah. Whether it's the cameraman, TV guys, the on-air personalities, the people running the people producing the shows, human FedEx is what I
Yeah,
like to say, Randy.
I love it. Now, I've seen some pictures of you and Justin Thomas, right? Is he a guy you photographed a lot?
No,
Or
not Justin Thomas.
I
No,
mean, Justin, who am I thinking?
Ricky Fowler, maybe.
Ricky Fowler. God,
Yeah.
I'm a loser.
Start that one over. Cut that part out.
I will. Okay. So I've seen you in some pictures with God. Now I'm fucking this up. All right. So I've seen you in some pictures with Ricky Fowler. Is that a guy you've shot a lot over the years?
I'll photograph him again coming soon, actually. So yeah. So my networking, Ricky's people asked my friend Courtney if she knew any photographers in that Jupiter, West Palm Beach area, and Courtney referred me to the people at Two Under, which
Mhm.
is they're really well known for their underwear. So Ricky wears Two Under underwear, and the people at Two Under reached out and asked me if I could photograph Ricky Fowler for the first time. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago,
Mhm.
and I photographed Ricky every year except for one, and I'll do it again here in the next month or
And
so.
that's for these 2 under events, not related to any golf tournament or
Yeah, it's
anything.
not an event. It's just a photo shoot to show off the new designs that Two Under has.
No. He seems like the man. Is he a good dude when you're
He is the
photographing him?
man. He's
Yeah.
he's he. A lot of these guys just they mean business. Like yeah, I mean they're fun. I mean I photographed Ricky in his underwear, so I mean we got to have a good time, right? You got to like cracking jokes and
Yeah.
yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah. He seems like one of those cool guys to be around. Also, did you shoot Scotty Scheffler too?
Only winning. So I actually was the tournament photographer last year for Arnold Palmer, and he won.
Yeah.
And then we went right up to Ponte Vedra, and he won again.
Yeah. He was on a run last year.
If you're doing some math, he won like I don't know $8.5 million in 10 days.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
So you got a chance to shoot him. How about Tiger? Anything with Tiger?
I helped out a photographer with a tiger shoot at Medalist in that West Palm Beach area. Just really cool to be in his presence. I also photographed him for Golf Now or
Mhm.
Golf Pass. A bunch of award winners got to be on the commercial shoot. So Tiger was also there. So I saw him there. And then I had to get a headshot of him for NBC Sports
Yeah.
at the Austin Country Club. And he was one of the last guys that I had to photograph because I had photographed like the top 80 golfers in the world for NBC Sports. And because he was coming off an injury, they were missing this very specific headshot with specific lighting that the director wanted. So I had to like go up to him and say, "Hey Tiger, I'm the NBC Sports photographer. I just need like a 20-second headshot." And he had his phone. He was watching, he's looking at his phone, and he because I was set up in the clubhouse and in the locker room, I knew where he was heading. He was going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I just got to be patient. And sure enough, I had to like wait for him to come out of the bathroom. And I'm like, Tiger, how about that headshot? And he's like, oh yeah, where are you set up, man? And
That's
I'm like,
cool.
oh, he's in. He's
Yeah.
in. So sure enough, I tell him where to stand, take, 5 pictures of him smiling, 5 with like just this deadpan serious face right into the lens. I said, thank you, sir. That's all I need. He goes, thanks. Have a good day. Gave me a little tap on the belly and just walked off. It was pretty good. It was
Awesome.
pretty fun. It was awesome.
It's one thing to take Ricky Fowler pictures, and then it's a whole different planet, in my opinion, to take Tiger Woods pictures.
Right.
Tiger Woods is like Tom Brady. He's like the president. He's, it's big time stuff with him.
It was really crazy because he had no handlers with him. He had no agent, no nothing. So I had to go up to him, and it was cool. It was really
Yeah.
cool.
I was gonna say like there's not security that follows him around.
No, not in the locker room.
Yeah, dude, Tiger can take care of himself. He's a freaking Navy SEAL or whatever.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Is it Annika Sorenstam that you do some photography
Yeah.
work with? Tell me
So
about that relationship.
yeah, I was the tournament photographer for Annika, and she is absolutely amazing.
Mm,
She's just an incredible person. She doesn't get the credit I think that she deserves.
mm.
She is she is so solid, and she's so giving of her time. Even during her week, and I've been her tournament photographer twice, she's like grinding it out. She's helping her son play some golf, and then she'll do all these. I just lost my shit.
I love it too. It's all good.
All
Hey,
right, what?
she's helping her son, and then
So she's doing,
what else?
yeah,
What else is she doing these weeks when she's running a tournament?
yeah, like she's like the face of the tournament. She's meeting with corporate sponsors, but more impressively is she's giving these group lessons to these kids like every day. And it's one thing to be the face of the tournament and putting your name out there, but she's like helping these people with their grip and their sand shots and their putting, and she's very hands-on, and it is so impressive, and she's the best. She really is the best.
Do you hear my dog going nuts out back there?
I think I do hear your dog.
I think she freaking wants to kill a UPS driver or something.
Nice.
Where's that tournament based out of?
So that tournament, the Annika, is based at the Pelican Club in the St. Pete area of Tampa, in Florida. There,
There's so many.
the
It
golf
seems like
course is insane. It,
yeah.
it held the match with Tiger, I believe, a few years ago, and the Doyle family owns it. And I've never stepped foot in Augusta National, but I can't imagine it being much better than the Pelican Club. It's
Conditions
that
were
impressive.
great, views great, everything about it was top notch.
The grass, there's no, you won't find like a blade of grass out of place, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, Pelican Club,
Pelican. Yep.
Pelican. So Tiger had one of the matches there. I'm trying to think which one matches did he do? Phil,
I really don't remember, to be honest with you.
yeah, those were actually fun back in the day. That would have been awesome to shoot that.
Mhm.
How about dream assignments? What's like bucket list assignments if you could get them outside of
Next
like
one,
like
yeah, I
that?
don't know. The dream, it's every phone call you get. I put my feelers out for a new tournament right now in Ohio. We'll see if I get it. This whole thing's a dream. I dreamed about this when I was 16, 17 years old, and it's coming true. So it's pretty cool.
So that's how it works, though. You have your people reach out to other people, and
I don't have my people, but yeah, you make these connections, and you deliver some good pictures and photography, and yeah,
yeah, and then
you
it's
keep
just
going. You keep getting the phone calls. It's like any business, like if you're my dad was a contractor. If you're not a nice person, you don't get the phone call.
so you got to build your reputation, have your portfolio of work, and then it just kind of takes care of
Yes.
itself from there. Is there any pivoting away from golf? I mean, golf will always be a thing for you, I assume.
Mhm.
Are you trying to do other types of photography besides that?
I've actually done a ton of other stuff. It's
Mhm.
it's never been just golf.
Yeah.
I've worked with Disney a bunch. I've photographed a ton of politicians in Florida,
What's the
and
Disney stuff look like?
they had an internal magazine for a long time.
Mhm.
They also had an entire executive team for the president of Disney. She would get, her name was Meg Crofton, and I photographed a lot of her content for speeches that she would give. So we would photograph a lot of the cast members, and the pictures were used like for her to internally, externally, during speeches.
Yeah. So that's a gig that didn't evolve into anything more than that, but it was her that you was your primary person.
Yeah, that she was doing that for many years, and those were some cool projects.
I bet. How about the politician stuff?
The politician
What is
stuff,
that? What does that mean? Florida politicians, national politicians.
mostly Floridians, mostly
Mhm.
Florida politicians. I'd photograph them for their websites or mail, social media. I got hooked into a guy in DC that really liked my work, and he's a good dude, and we had some mutual friends, Jonathan, and yeah, he hired me for quite a few shoots
Yeah.
to help out his clients, basically.
which is great. So add that to the portfolio. What
Oh, yeah.
else? Do you ever do?
Actually, I don't like to add political things to the
Really?
portfolio because it's so polarizing. And
Yeah.
I don't even want to tell you what party I worked for or anything like
But that's
that.
the
So,
thing, right? Like
yeah, it's like,
you're the
yeah, I don't
Republican
want to be,
photographer, you're the
yeah,
Democratic photographer. So
right. Who cares?
it's annoying, but that is just the way things are now,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
I don't blame you. That stuff's not fun. If you can do other things, if you can focus on golf and other things, what other type of photography have you been doing over the years?
Man, just a lot of golf. I got into horse photography because my wife had a
What does that
horse.
even mean? Like Kentucky Derby type
I don't,
stuff, or
I don't even
just
know what it means. My wife had a horse boarding facility for
yeah?
10 years, and I had all these gorgeous horses in the backyard. And there's a very specific way to photograph a horse, which I did not know about. And there's
What do you
certain
mean
like,
by that?
so
Like someone who sets the way photography is done
so
for
when a
horses.
horse goes over a jump, it lifts its front feet, and you want it at like the peak.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this I got a camera over my shoulder here, and it rips at like 30 frames a second.
Yeah.
So it actually wouldn't be my fault if the horse didn't look right. It would be the horse's fault. So, sometimes they're like this, that's bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like this or this, it's bad. Usually they're like them tucked in at the top. And there's a
So
whole
you
like,
would never Photoshop that though. That's like not a thing in your world. They wouldn't expect you to
no,
move those things in alignment or anything. It's just either they're there or not. I
right.
wonder how much that editing piece comes into what you do, but it sounds like it doesn't at all. You just get the picture you get.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You get it or you don't. The horse
Yes.
gets it or the horse doesn't.
But like you said, when you take 30 pictures in a second, in a 10-second span, you have 300 frames to look at.
Right.
And it's just a matter of getting the
Right.
right one and
Right.
hope it all lines up.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Hey, Randy, let me interrupt you.
Sure.
I just want to say thanks for doing this podcast because I did not live here for the longest time. And you and your podcast was a way for me to keep in touch with people in the area.
Isn't that
And,
cool?
people like John Laliberty, and you've had on many politicians and local business people. And I just want to say thanks for inviting me, number one. Sorry, this is in the middle of the podcast, but
No, I love it.
no, I think it's amazing because community journalism is like Facebook and Instagram, and to be able to be here with you is pretty cool.
Well, I will say that we really didn't know each other before my
Mhm.
podcast. You made that connection to Casey Bork, but just like you were aware of the podcast, we have a bunch of mutual friends, and it's been cool how this podcast has connected me with different people.
Mhm.
People whose names I've known, people's names I haven't known, and to hear that it's been a way for you to keep in touch with some of the things going around Southern Maine, Biddeford, Saco area. That's cool, man. I don't even know what I'm doing this for, but if that's one of the reasons and that's what people are getting out of it, then that's awesome by me.
No, I appreciate it, and thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it's just funny how the world works that way. Just the connection we've made, the Mike Crane connection, the Casey
Yeah.
connection.
I mean, you are the Journal Tribune now. That's how I see you. You know what I mean? Like you are bringing the news of the area to the
well, I
people.
will say, and there is some truth to that. And there's other people that are doing things online that are kind of filling that void, but something has to fill that void.
Mhm.
Because what a huge loss to have something like that. And I get the economics don't make sense to have a local newspaper like the Journal Tribune anymore, but there is this huge void, and there's people online that fill the gaps, and this maybe fills the gaps for other people. But I had a episode with a couple mayoral candidates last election cycle. I'm like, I thought that went really well, number one, and I thought it actually had an impact on the race to some degree, which is weird to say, but I've
Right?
talked to a lot of people after I put that out there, and they'd be like, "Yeah, listen to your podcast with both the candidates. I know who I'm voting for now," and I'm just like, "What?" Kind of cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah,
I mean, where else are they going to sit down for an interview like this? You got to catch the if they went on a news station or
yeah,
a very small social media thing. But this is like a longer form interview, and yeah, people can learn a lot.
yeah.
It's pretty
Well,
cool.
yeah, they might have had debates. I think they did have a debate, but it's on whatever public access channel. What that
Right,
even looks like now, I don't even. If someone was like, "Hey, go watch this on public access," I don't even know how I would get to that.
right,
So very limited potential for people to watch that. And again, it's just kind of one-off questions, canned responses. Like to be able to sit down with someone for a half hour, 45 minutes, dig in, learn something from them, I think it makes a big difference. It's just funny how that's how media has gone over the past 5 or 10 years. Had a big impact, obviously, in the most recent election cycle as well.
right.
So photography stuff. I had just a couple questions photography-wise. What's the hardest part for you about being a photographer?
Being a photographer is easy. It is the hardest, the marketing is the hardest part. The networking is the hardest part. Staying top of
Next
mind
show.
is the hardest part. The extra stuff. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Finding that next shoot
Right.
is
Estimating, billing, normal small business stuff.
taking the pictures is the easy part.
It
Okay.
is the easy part. Yeah. That camera is an
Whoa.
extension of my brain. That is an easy part.
Yeah, dude. Cameras are a whole other thing, man. Like, obviously, you have some pretty serious gear. What do you have?
Mm-hmm.
20 cameras? How's that work for someone like yourself? Is it, or you just have a handful of cameras that are just tried and true
Yeah,
cameras?
you just keep you keep two around. It's the lenses that you spend money on. You just try to keep it simple though.
Yeah.
You need all the cards, you need the memory, the external hard drives, the random things that add up. You never want to be on a shoot and run out of memory or batteries, so you need extra batteries and stuff gets heavy.
What about backing up? Do you backing up all the time? Is
Yeah,
that a thing?
so
Is that a concern that, you drop your camera or something in a
yeah, you
stream and
definitely have to keep two. I've
yeah,
shattered a lens before, dropped one on a dock. I was photographing a barefoot water skier, and they were holding on to the pole off the boom off the side of the boat, and I had my camera in front of the boom, and when the person dropped, it like the boom recoiled, and it actually came and like just shattered the front element of my lens. I actually felt terrible because I didn't know how close like the glass ended up flying, and like did it cut the person? Like
yeah,
I was pretty nervous.
everything was fine.
It was fine, yeah.
But dude, what do you think about that after you break your lens and everyone's fine? You're like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, yeah. I also shattered one in Banff, and outside of Calgary, Canada. I was doing these night shoots, and I
Mhm.
went to the Canadian Rockies, and I had my camera set up all night on a really famous golf hole called the Devil's Cauldron. And I had it on a tripod, and it was really windy. And I came back to check on the camera, and the whole thing blew over, and the front it was gone. It was dead. It smashed.
So you didn't get that shot then. It's not like you went back the same night, different night with a different lens, or did you?
I don't think there were any camera shops, but I had a backup lens. The body was fine. The lens was gone.
Yeah.
It was in two pieces, and
Oh well.
yeah,
Banff is unreal. I've heard.
it's unbelievable. Have you been?
No, I've just seen things online. My wife
Oh my
wants to go. It
gosh,
just seems like a unbelievably beautiful place.
this particular course, I loved it because it was flat, but you're in like the valley
Mhm.
of the Canadian Rockies, and it was just gorgeous. There was elk. There's
Yeah,
yeah,
but that's the
moose,
thing. You fly
elk,
into Calgary
deer.
and then you have to drive a couple hours, right? It's not like
No,
you.
it's actually that was the great part is that you flew into Calgary and then it's like an hour and a half west,
Yeah,
and the drive is magnificent. I'm kind of scared of like going on these switchbacks over mountains, so I
yeah,
was really worried about it. But I can tell you, there's no switchbacks to Banff,
yeah.
and it's pretty easy driving, and
Just straight drive.
it's beautiful,
Yeah, I
absolutely
gotta get out
beautiful.
there. As I've been listening to you, it sounds like golf has brought you some unbelievable places. Like to go to South Korea, to Banff, all these beautiful golf courses across the country. It's like, I mean, you've seen some beautiful places, and they tend to revolve around golf. But what's like the most beautiful place that comes to mind for you?
I was at a golf course today in Biddeford, Maine, and no one even knows about it. But
Abenaki?
yeah,
Freaking Abenaki.
it's unbelievable.
It is beautiful out there, man.
It's unbelievable.
What's the deal with Abenaki?
It's just a gorgeous place. It's a private place, and I just love to go and share pictures of it with
We
the.
got we got a guest.
We've got a guest. Hey, bud.
Uh,
Say hi to Mr. Randy.
What's up, buddy? How do you get on Abenaki?
You don't. I haven't been. I've been a golfer for 30 years. I've never played Abenaki.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it's like right there. I've driven by it 10 million times,
Yeah.
but I
It's a
don't even.
beautiful spot.
It's for like the 100 people that live in Biddeford
Yeah.
Pool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool spot. I've been to a lot of places like Abenaki,
Yeah.
but this one's just right down the street.
Well, close to home. Great views out of Saco Bay over there. It is
Mhm.
really a good spot. So
Mhm.
about people trying to break into the industry. Anyone ever ask you for advice? Do you ever give advice to
Yeah,
people?
once in a while. Yeah, it happened the last few weeks actually. I
What
had
do you tell them?
golfers and golf. They sometimes they ask me about equipment, and then sometimes it's like, hey, I've got a teenage kid that's really into photography. Can you give them any direction? And I only know what I did, which is keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting, and then sharing. But the sharing part of that is a lot easier today with
Yeah.
social media and email and just being able to share, share, share. That's how you're going to get better.
So
And find
yes.
someone that's going to tell you the truth. Like if you're producing some terrible pictures, offer up some great advice on how to improve, because that's what people like Jim Colton did for me when I was at the Eddie Adams workshop, and he was the Sports Illustrated photo editor, which is just crazy because I was 20 years old, and he'd be like, hey Cy, I wonder how this football game's from the top of that mountain over there. And he said that to me. I'll never forget it. And well, I'm going to the top of the mountain over there, and I'm going to shoot the football game from the top of that mountain's perspective. And I think he noticed and he appreciated it. Hey,
Yeah.
Cy, what does it look like if you put the camera in a helmet? I don't know, but I'm going to try that right now, Mr. Colton.
Yeah. So he had kind of an eye for the different types of shots that you could take,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
that's something that you learn from.
yeah,
Yeah, you're lucky to have a guy like that, and you try to be that person for people. Sounds
right,
like when you can,
right. Yeah, whenever you can. Yeah.
because technology has changed photography a lot. And I would think that a big part is having like a really good Instagram page. Is that even not a consideration, or do some people build their photography businesses portfolio off of what they put on Instagram, or is that not for like true professionals?
Yeah, I think you need to have the Instagram page and the social media page and the websites.
Mm-hmm.
But then you actually need to go send it to the people that you want to work for or
Mm-hmm.
network with. You can't just have a page. You just can't build a website. No one's going to come. You need to find them on LinkedIn, find them, follow them, DM them, build a relationship with the people that will pay you money to shoot pictures.
Which is the business side of photography.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing some drone work at all? I feel like I've seen
Love
some
the
aerial stuff
drone.
from you.
Oh my gosh, it's changed everything. It's changed
How
the whole,
so?
well, it changed your whole perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty amazing the shots that you can get. I saw you do some ones, I think, out Biddeford in the past like few weeks or months that were really cool down by the beach.
Yeah.
But when did you start doing drone photography?
I think my first drone was in 2019,
Okay.
and that's a whole other thing for photography, right? Like it just changes everything. I would I would suggest to people, if you're going to buy a drone, just go to 3 feet in the air, put it down. Go to 10 feet in the air, put it down.
Mm-hmm.
Move left, move right, put it down. And then, you can slowly build up your skills to go, fly the thing a couple 100,000, not hundreds of feet or thousands
Yeah.
of feet, and then I don't want to like go through trees. I'm mostly using it for golf courses or beach or just, beautiful pictures. But these guys are really good, and they'll like follow a golf ball, or you've seen the crazy videos of like,
Did you see the one of the garden, the Celtics one in the
yeah,
garden? I don't know
yeah.
if you know what I'm talking about. It was a drone that like flew into people going up the escalator in the garden, went
Mm-hmm.
in through the security line, up the escalators into the space of the garden. You know, rafters. You get the things
Right.
hanging, going by the suites. People are like cheersing as it's going by, and I was like, "What am I looking at right now? Is this made on a computer, or is this something people are actually having timed up?" But it sounds like it can be pretty elaborate.
That guy has his work on Instagram. It's one guy that's really well known for it, and I forget his screen name right now, but he's done stuff at the Sphere in Las Vegas. He's like done
Yeah,
circles around Bono in that opening few weeks,
you too.
and
Yeah,
then, goes, like you said, like through the beer lines and through the merch tent and the strip. And the PGA Tour just hired that same guy, and because the PGA Tour just spent a bunch of money on a new studio, so the drone went through the studio and through through the big screen section and inside, outside. They had, I think, Billy Horschel putting, and the drone followed the putt. And
did you see the one of Tom? See, this is where I don't know what is real and what's not.
Mhm.
But then there was one of Tom Brady where the drone comes by, he hits his golf shot, and the thing lands on the green, the drone turns and it rolls into the cup and it shows him cheering in the background. It's like,
Yeah.
is that real? I don't even know if that's real. I think that might have been fake, but
I think the drone work is real. I think the ball going in the cup is fake.
yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
think.
The things that you can do are pretty amazing.
Right.
But for you said you use it for some golf courses, but is it more a hobbyist type thing for you right now, or are you really trying to incorporate it into your professional work?
No, so since I'm in Maine now, I'd love to just help people with their real estate pictures, or,
Yeah.
you know, maybe the golf courses need some drone work here in Maine or New England. And, you know, I'm here now. So this is cool. It's a cool opportunity.
Love it. What's next for you? Then what's the next gig you have planned out?
Ricky Fowler in his underpants, you know, Ricky
Yeah.
Fowler in his underpants is coming up. I was at the golf course today because they're working on a project, like a conservation project, and the Audubon Society is involved. So they wanted to document the process. So
Yeah.
even that today was pretty cool. But I'd really like to help out these York County businesses that might need some help. And there's a lot of things going on in this town since I left 25 years ago. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of the community.
It's really changed, huh? In that period of time. I know you've come and visit, I'm sure, but it has changed quite a bit.
I was here, you know, once a year for 20 years, but it's just so impressive. It started off, you know, when you leave in 2000, it started off with like, oh my gosh, there's a new Walmart by the exit. And then it's like, holy crap, like someone bought the mill and they're going to put some apartments in it. And you're like, what are you talking about? You
And
know,
then you go in there and you're like,
I
what?
didn't even know how big the mill was when I was a kid because you never went in it. It was dilapidated. There's like a ash spewing from a thing in the center of town. Like you didn't want to tell people where you're from, you know, but now you do, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, now people are spending big money to come to
Mhm.
boutique hotels and good restaurants, and it's kind of funny.
That Lincoln
But,
is crazy. I
dude, it's
keep telling people you could pick it up, put it in Boston, London, New York City, wherever, and you would never blink an eye. And I
impressive.
think that's true.
If 10 years ago you're like, one of the best places to go have drinks in town is the lobby of a hotel in Biddeford, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
But it's it's definitely a thing for Southern Maine. Well, listen, man, I want to thank you for coming on. It was great talking. Great
Thank
catching
you,
up.
Randy. Thank you for
love
doing
this.
this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing a podcast. How many years have you been doing this?
Probably 3.
Yeah.
It's weird to tell people you do a podcast, but it is what it is,
Not
man.
weird
It's
at
good
all,
fun.
man. It's not weird at all. I'm in the business of content. Podcasts are content, and it's just like a big happy family. You're just producing content.
I appreciate that, dude. Hey, I get personal enjoyment out of it, so I guess that really is the biggest thing. And it's the people that you connect with and the stories that you hear. And dude, I have a long list of people that have been on the pod that I kind of feel like are this part of this little family of mine now. You know, like you've been on the pod now. It's like anytime I see it, we have that added connection, which is cool.
Please keep doing it. And if I can help you in any way, you let me know.
I appreciate it, dude. All right, bud. Thanks again for coming on, man. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, Randy.